And although President Trump insists that U.S. control of Greenland is crucial to American security, many Americans apparently don't see it that way. A recent poll shows that 70% are against the idea, and Greenlanders are apparently not keen on the plan either. As we just heard in Tom Foreman's piece there, a staggering 85% of them said that they do not want their Arctic island to become part of the U.S. All right, joining me now live from Greenland's capital city of Nuuk is Kuno Fencker. He is a member of Greenland's parliament and also spokesperson for the Saimet political party. Great to have you this morning, sir. Let me just first ask, what was your first reaction when you heard that Second Lady Usha Vance and a U.S. team would be visiting Greenland this week?
Well, for me and our party is that we will always welcome other nations' leaders, and it's both an honor, a strong signal of respect for the Second Lady of the United States to come and visit and also sponsor our cultural heritage for dog sledding championships here in Greenland. So in my view, they are welcome in Greenland, and if it was up to me, I will welcome them in a very good manner. So I think it's soft diplomacy, and it also shows that Greenland's position in the geopolitical world, and that we also want to be a part of the international community is showing up now.
I take your point that Greenland wants to continue to be part of the international community, but does Greenland want to be part of the U.S.? I mean, what can you share with us about the sentiment there on the ground as this renewed interest from President Trump about perhaps the U.S. owning Greenland?
Well, we are already owned by another country who annexed us in 1953, and we don't want to be annexed again. So we are striving to become a sovereign state in Greenland, but of course we know that it's utopia to think that we can be fully independent. So we need cooperation, and all those things are written in law in Greenland. And if Greenland wants to become independent or a sovereign, we need to start the negotiations with Denmark, and that is the process. But it's also certainly a process. If Denmark opposes our right to independence, that we are able to negotiate with other countries.
I want to play for you something that President Trump said earlier this year in his address to Congress and get your interpretation of it.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
Kuno, I hear you say that, you know, it's an honor certainly to have U.S. officials visit and take part in these festivities. But when the American president says one way or the other, we're going to get it, how do you interpret that?
It depends on what he means about one way or the other. We're gonna get it. That is, if you can see that as a negative rhetoric. But I certainly think that the United States, with a big political system, will adhere to international law, and that Greenland shouldn't be annexed again by another country. And I really hope that we can cooperate in a peaceful way in regards to the resources, culture, and other economical development positions, but also, of course, in regards to national security of the United States. I fully understand that, and we have to up the ante here at the Kingdom of Denmark in regards to surveilling and protecting Greenland. And if Denmark can't do it, I can understand that the United States has a big interest in the island.
You know, it's interesting because Trump first floated this idea in his first term. It was 2018. But now that there has been this flurry of activity and these visits now, I mean, how are people there reacting to this renewed interest? I mean, just from the reporting that I've been able to listen to and some of the sound that I've been able to listen to, it's headline news. I mean, it appears to be something that everybody is talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes the rhetoric haven't been so welcome in Greenland, because some journalists have said something about annexing, and we're going to get it anyways, and using economic force or military force has been, interpreted in different ways. So that is unfortunate in my opinion, and I hope that the US the communication will become more positive and in respect for international law, so that of course there's also the interest of the Kingdom of Denmark retaining the territory of Greenland. So that has been a lot of fear mongering in regards to the communication from the US, and also the divide and conquer, the divide and rule position of the media from Denmark has been very extreme during the elections, general elections here in Greenland.
Yeah, those most recent elections. Certainly a lot of interest here, all with their own incentives and interests, as you sort of allude to there. Kuno, Fencker, we appreciate the time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.